If you're just here to nod and take notes, I can save us both the trouble. That's how I started. Not hi, not I'm Lena, just that. It came out too fast, too sharp. I knew it, but I couldn't help it. He didn't look up at first, just sat there behind that wide wooden desk, scribbling into a leather notebook like I hadn't just opened with a verbal slap. His office was clean, too clean. Fake plants in perfect corners. Nothing personal, no photos, no coffee mug with a dumb quote. Just polished surfaces and the smell of nothing. I hated it. I hated how quiet it was. I hated how he didn't speak unless I did. I hated that he never interrupted me, even when I wanted him to. Even when I needed someone to tell me I was being stupid or broken or normal. But what I hated most was how he looked at me or didn't. He finally raised his eyes. Not quickly. Not dramatically. Just slowly. Controlled. Dr. Evan Carter. 42, maybe 43. Salt and pepper hair. Calm voice. Always wearing something dark like he didn't want to be noticed, but still was. He had one of those faces you couldn't forget, the kind that had seen too much and was still waiting to see the rest. Before I continue this, hit that subscribe button. I post one real story every single day. And tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? I'm always curious who my stories are reaching. And his eyes. God, those eyes. They weren't cold. They were empty. I'd take cold over empty any day. I'm sorry, I said, folding my arms across my chest. That was rude. He closed the notebook gently, set his pen down, and waited. That's his thing, I've learned. He waits. Waits like a bomb technician. Waits like you're the bomb. I stopped. I'm not great at this. He didn't nod. He didn't say, that's okay. He didn't say anything. I hated him a little for that. I hated him a little more for not trying to make me like him. 3 sessions in, I muttered. And I've learned nothing except you have a very impressive collection of muted sweaters. Still nothing. God, he was infuriating. You know, I thought therapy was supposed to be interactive, I said. Like, tell me how that makes you feel, or let's unpack that. I'm giving you gold here, Doc. Trauma, heartbreak, a truly terrible sex life. What more do you want? Still nothing. I threw my hands in the air. This is a waste of time. You keep coming back, he said. It was the first time he'd spoken in 10 minutes. His voice was low, unbothered, like smoke on cold glass. I blinked. That doesn't mean it's working. No, he said. It means you want it to. I opened my mouth, closed it again. That's not. It is, he said gently. If you thought I had nothing to offer, you wouldn't be sitting here. I looked away, out the window. The sky was a dull, flat gray, like it was tired of pretending to be weather. I don't want to be here, I said. I believe you. I hate this. I believe that too. Do you believe anything I say? He paused. You say a lot without saying much. That hit something in me, somewhere low. And I hated that it did. Wow, I said. That's the first useful sentence you've said in 3 weeks. I saw it then, the faintest twitch of his lip. Not a smile, but something close. A fracture. Progress. You want me to say something you'll hate? He asked. I scoffed. Please. He leaned back in his chair, hands folded, still calm, still infuriating. You don't hate me because I'm silent, he said. You hate me because I'm not trying to fix you. It knocked the air out of me. I didn't say anything. I didn't know what to say. You think you're broken, he continued. But you're not. You're just waiting for someone to put their hands on the pieces and make them fit again. My throat tightened. And when I don't do that, he said, voice soft, you panic. You don't know me, I whispered. I'm starting to. We stared at each other. And then I said it. You don't ask real questions. You just wait for me to fall apart. His eyes didn't flinch. but they changed. Like I'd touched something I wasn't supposed to find. "I'm not waiting for you to fall apart," he said. "I'm waiting for you to realize you already haven't." And that was the moment I wanted to cry. But I didn't. I stood up instead, grabbed my bag, fumbled with the strap. "I'll see you next week," I said, even though I didn't mean it, even though I wanted to. He didn't stop me, didn't ask me to stay, didn't say goodbye. But as I closed the door behind me, I heard the faintest sound. His pen, writing again. I didn't go back the next week. I didn't even call. I told myself it was a test. If he cared, he'd reach out. If I mattered even a little, there'd be some kind of message, or a follow-up from the clinic, or a voicemail, something. But my phone stayed silent, just like he had. And yet, I thought about him every day. How still he sat. How he didn't fill the silence just to make it easier. How he listened like it meant something even when I wasn't saying anything worth hearing. It pissed me off how much I missed that. I found myself walking in the rain. No umbrella, no headphones, just wet hair, tired thoughts, and the overwhelming ache of needing something I couldn't name. I ended up in front of his office building. I didn't mean to. I didn't even realize I'd walked that far. The windows were dark. It was past hours. The place was quiet. But his car was still parked in the back. I just stood there, soaked, watching it. Like some ridiculous movie character who doesn't know how to move forward unless someone cues the music. That's when the door opened. And he walked out. Umbrella in one hand, coat over his arm, keys in the other. He stopped when he saw me. Didn't flinch, didn't startle. Just stood there, blinking the water out of his eyes like he'd been expecting me. "You missed your session," he said. "So you do keep track." His jaw moved slightly. "I thought maybe you were done." "I don't know what I am," I admitted. Angry, embarrassed, tired. "You're allowed to be all three." I swallowed. My clothes were clinging to my skin. "I didn't plan to come here," I said. "Then why are you here?" I hesitated. Then, "Because I said something that scared me, and you didn't react, and that made it worse." He stepped closer, slowly, still holding the umbrella, still unreadable. "What scared you?" he asked. "That you're right." I looked up at him, water dripping down my face. "That I am waiting for someone to fix me. And I thought, maybe you were the first person who wouldn't try, and that terrified me." He didn't speak, just stood there with the rain tapping softly against the umbrella above him. "I feel like you see through me," I said, "and I hate it." "Then why are you standing in front of me soaked to the skin?" I laughed, bitter and small. "Because apparently I hate being invisible more." He looked down. Then he held out the umbrella. "Come inside." It smelled the same wood and dust and something herbal, but everything felt different. I sat on the couch instead of the therapy chair. He didn't sit behind his desk this time. He took the armchair across from me. Still not close, but closer. "I'm not your therapist anymore," he said quietly. My heart kicked up. "Because I missed one appointment?" "Because this," he gestured between us, "isn't therapy. Not anymore." I felt something sharp twist in my chest. "Are you saying I can't come back?" "I'm saying you shouldn't." I looked at him. Really looked. His hair was damp now, little silver streaks clinging to his forehead. He'd changed into a navy shirt, rolled up sleeves, less put together than usual, more human. "Do you want me to go?" I asked. He didn't answer right away. "No," he said finally. "But I should." I let the silence hang. I knew how much he respected it. But tonight I couldn't bear it. "Do you ever feel like someone cracked you open and then left you to bleed alone?" He blinked. "Every day." "Was it your ex-wife?" He tensed. "Just slightly." "Yes." "What happened?" He didn't move, didn't speak. Just looked me dead in the eye and said, "We had a son. He died. and she couldn't look at me anymore without seeing what she lost. My throat closed up. "I'm sorry." He nodded. "So am I." I wanted to reach for him. I didn't. He was still sitting too far, still behind that invisible line. "You're not over it," I whispered. "No one gets over that," he said. "You just carry it better over time." I shifted on the couch. "Then why do you sit there every day pretending everyone else's pain matters more than yours?" He let out a soft breath. "I don't pretend," he said. "I just stay quiet." "Maybe you're afraid," I said, "of what'll happen if someone listens to you for a change." He looked stunned, like I'd hit a nerve he'd buried years ago. Then he stood, turned his back to me. "You should go," he said. "I don't want to." "That's exactly why you should." I stood too. He didn't turn around, so I walked right up behind him, not close enough to touch, just enough that he could feel it. "Feel me." "I think we broke something in each other," I said softly. "But maybe we opened something too." He turned then, eyes glassy. "Not from rain this time." "You're 24, he said. "You're 42. I was supposed to help you heal. And instead," I said, "you let me see that I wasn't the only one bleeding." We stared at each other. The air between us wasn't silent anymore. It was alive. He didn't kiss me. He didn't reach for me. But the look in his eyes told me everything. If I stayed one more second, he would. So I stepped back and walked to the door. But before I left, I turned to him and said, "Next week I won't show up again. Not to your office, but maybe you'll show up to mine." And then I was gone. 3 days passed. He didn't come. Not on Monday. Not Tuesday. Not even Wednesday, when I sat by the window of the same quiet cafe from before, the one with the crooked table in the corner and the softest lights in the late afternoon. I knew I shouldn't be waiting. I told myself I wasn't, but I was. Every time the bell over the door rang, my heart jumped. And every time it wasn't him, I felt something inside me sink further down. Then, on Thursday, I stopped hoping. And that's when he walked in. He didn't look around. He didn't hesitate. He walked straight toward me, like he'd been walking toward me for a long, long time. He didn't smile. He just pulled out the chair across from mine and sat down. "I shouldn't be here," he said. "Then leave." He didn't. I stared at him for a long moment. He looked tired. Not physically, not in the way sleep could fix, but like he was holding something heavy and had been for years and just now realized he could set it down. "I've been thinking about what you said," he murmured, "that I sit behind pain and call it silence." I bit my lip. I didn't mean to cut deep. "Yes, you did," he said, "and you were right to." The waitress came over, clearly sensing tension. She placed 2 waters down and didn't ask for orders. He looked at me. Not around me. Not through me. At me. And it felt like the first real thing in weeks. "I told myself I could handle it," he said. "Talking to you, listening to you, keeping it clinical. But the truth is..." He stopped. I waited. He exhaled sharply. "The truth is, I stopped seeing you as a patient the moment you stopped pretending to be one." I swallowed hard. "That night, when I stood outside your office, I couldn't sleep after you left," he said. "I sat in that chair until the sun came up." We both went quiet. The cafe buzzed around us, coffee machines hissing, plates clinking, laughter from some table we weren't part of. "You said you weren't my therapist anymore," I said. "So what are you now?" He was quiet for a moment. Then, "Scared." That startled me. "You don't seem scared." "That's the problem," he said. "No one ever thinks I am." "I do." He looked away then. His hands were on the table, no ring, no watch, just fingers tapping lightly like his thoughts were running faster than his mouth. "I haven't let anyone in for almost 8 years, he said. "Not really." I was good at the role husband, father, doctor, but after everything, I just shut down. And now? He looked at me again. His voice was so soft I almost didn't catch it. Now I don't want to play a role anymore. My throat burned. I don't know what this is, I whispered. I don't know what we are. I do, he said. We're two people who were told to keep our pain quiet, and instead, we started listening to each other. My eyes welled up. People will say it's wrong. They already do, he said. I let out a shaky laugh. You're twice my age. I know. You were supposed to help me. I think you helped me more. Silence again. And then I said the one thing I hadn't dared to speak aloud. I'm afraid you'll disappear. His eyes softened. I already did, for 8 years, and then you knocked. I blinked fast, trying not to cry. He reached across the table, didn't grab me, didn't clutch. Just touched the side of my hand. Gentle, honest. I'm here now, he said. I turned my palm over, let his fingers rest in mine. The warmth of it broke something in me. Not painfully, like a thaw. We walked in the park after that. Not close, not holding hands. Just together. And for the first time, I realized something. I wasn't looking for someone to fix me anymore. I was looking for someone who wouldn't run when I didn't smile. Someone who knew how to hold still when I fell apart. And maybe, just maybe, he was too. He texted me late. Not a question. Not a statement. Just, are you awake? I stared at the screen for a full minute before typing back. Yes. He replied almost instantly. I'm outside. My heart dropped into my stomach. I walked to the window slowly, careful like the floor might crack. And there he was, leaning against his car, arms crossed, eyes on the ground like he wasn't sure this was a good idea either. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. I just watched him. And then I opened the door. He didn't speak when he came in. Neither did I. There was a kind of electricity in the air, humming just beneath the surface of everything, the walls, our bodies, our skin. He stood near the doorway, unsure. I sat down on the couch and tucked my legs beneath me like I was cold. I wasn't. Is this okay? He asked softly. I nodded. I think so. I didn't plan to come. I didn't plan to wait. He let out a breath, quiet, relieved, maybe even terrified. You said something the other night, he said, about being afraid I'd disappear. I looked at him. Yeah. I haven't stopped thinking about that. I swallowed. I don't want to be something that breaks you, he said, or something you'll spend years undoing. You're not, I said, but you might be the first thing that ever saw me. He sat down next to me, not too close, not far. You think I see you? He asked. I know you do. Even the parts you don't show anyone? Especially those. There was a silence that came next, not empty, not awkward, just honest. He leaned his head back against the couch. His voice came out like gravel. I haven't touched anyone in years. I didn't flinch. I haven't trusted anyone in years, I said. And just like that, we were the same. Two people hiding behind silence, and somehow we'd found each other through it. I'm not good at this, he murmured. Neither am I. Another beat. Then I turned my face toward him and asked, Do you want to kiss me? He looked startled. But not because he didn't want to. Because I said it. I don't know if I should. That's not what I asked. He looked at me then. And all the restraint, the professionalism, the boundaries, the walls melted right off his face. I do, he whispered. And then he did. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't polished or smooth or cinematic. It was real. Like someone breathing for the first time after drowning. Like years of not touching, not feeling, not risking, all pouring out at once. His hand slid gently to the side of my face, fingers trembling like he couldn't believe he was allowed to do this. My hands clung to his shirt, bunching the fabric like I was afraid he'd vanish if I let go. When we finally pulled back, our foreheads stayed pressed together. Neither of us said anything. The moment was already louder than words. We lay side by side on the couch, fully clothed, wrapped in silence. The good kind. The kind that doesn't demand explanation. His fingers found mine in the dark. He didn't grip, just rested there. "I don't know what happens now," I whispered. "Neither do I," he said. "But you're here." "I'm here." I turned toward him. His eyes were closed, but his jaw was tense. Like he was trying to keep everything inside from spilling out. "I don't need saving," I said. He opened his eyes. "I know. I don't need fixing. I wouldn't dare try." I took a breath. "I just want someone who stays." He looked at me for a long time. Then he said it. "Then I'll stay." He left before sunrise. Didn't kiss me goodbye. Didn't linger. Just pressed a hand to my shoulder like he was memorizing the shape of my presence. And as he stood at the door, I asked, "Do you regret it?" He didn't turn around when he said, "No, that's what scares me." Then he was gone. And I was left with the echo of something that didn't feel like a mistake. It felt like the beginning of something beautiful and absolutely dangerous. He didn't text the next day, or the day after that. At first, I told myself it was fine, that it made sense, that after what happened that kiss, that night, we both needed time to think. But by the third day, it wasn't thinking anymore. It was silence. And it was starting to rot something inside me. I wasn't just hurt. I was terrified. Because I knew what this pattern looked like, not hearing from someone after you've given them the softest part of yourself. I'd lived it before. Except this time, it wasn't just a man. It was him. It was late again. Of course it was. "Lena," he said, like my name was the hardest word to say. "3 days. I replied flatly. "That's how long it takes for you to change your mind?" "I didn't change my mind. You disappeared. I needed space. You had me. You could have said that to me." "I was afraid I'd say something worse." I laughed bitterly. "Worse than nothing?" His voice cracked slightly. "I didn't know how to come back without ruining it." I swallowed hard. "You already ruined it, Evan." Silence. Not that clean kind from his office, the ugly kind. The kind that feels like a door slamming shut. And then, "I want to see you." I didn't know whether to cry or hang up. But I said, "Then come now." He stood in the doorway like he was scared of himself. I didn't move. He walked toward me slowly. And then he said it. "Someone saw us." I blinked. "What?" "Last week, the night I left your place." The blood drained from my face. "Who?" "A patient." My stomach twisted. "Did they say anything?" "Not directly. But they told the clinic director they saw me in the neighborhood, and now..." He paused. "Now people are asking questions." I sat down, hard, like my legs couldn't hold this weight. "They think something happened?" "They know something happened," he said quietly. "Are you going to lie?" He looked at me. "No." My heart pounded. "Then what happens now?" He walked over, knelt in front of me. "I'm going to resign," he said. My eyes shot up. "What?" "I can't work there and keep you a secret. I can't live this half-truth and call it professional distance." "You're giving up your job for me?" "I'm giving up a lie," he said. "For us." I stared at him. I didn't know what to feel. Gratitude? Fear? Love? So I asked the only thing I could manage. "And what do we become after that?" He looked away, then back. "I don't know," he said honestly. "But for the first time, I want to find out." We lay in bed, not touching, just side by side, both of us buzzing with too many thoughts and not enough answers. "I'm scared," I whispered. "I am too. What if I ruin you?" "You won't." "What if you regret choosing me over your career?" "I've already had a career. I've never had you." The room went still. I turned to face him. His eyes were open, watching the ceiling like it might collapse. I reached for his hand. He held it tight, like someone bracing for impact. The next morning, an email. Not to me, to him. From the ethics board. He showed it to me without a word. Just held out the phone. I read the words once. Twice. And then again. Due to concerns raised by a former patient, a formal review of your recent client relationships will be conducted immediately. My blood turned to ice. Former patient, I whispered. That's me. He nodded slowly. They know. I looked at him. He looked calm. Too calm. What do we do? I asked. And he said, we tell the truth, every part of it, no shame. But they'll judge you. I've already judged myself for years. Nothing they say will be worse than what I've carried alone. I pressed my forehead to his shoulder. I don't want to be your mistake, I whispered. And his hand came up to cradle the back of my head. You're the only thing that ever felt like a decision. The hearing was quiet. Too quiet. No slamming gavels, no angry voices, just papers shuffling and eyes watching us like we were two sides of a broken mirror. Evan sat next to me in a dark suit. He didn't hold my hand. He didn't look at me. He didn't need to. The tension in his shoulders told me everything. He was trying to protect me. But I was already cracked open in front of strangers. The board asked their questions calmly, professionally. When did the romantic relationship begin? Was physical intimacy initiated while Ms. M was still in your care? Were clinical boundaries formally terminated before personal contact occurred? Each answer was a wire he had to step over carefully. Each pause felt like a bomb ticking under our seats. I kept my gaze down. Because if I looked up, if I looked at him, I knew I'd fall apart. And I needed to survive this. Even if we didn't. We sat in the car afterward. Engine off. No music. Just silence and the rhythmic thump of my heartbeat in my ears. I'm sorry, he said quietly. You never asked for this. I asked for you, I whispered. And that was the truth. Even now. Even after the letter they handed him, not termination, not yet, but suspension pending review, I didn't regret choosing him. But I could feel the weight he carried, the guilt. It filled the car like a third passenger. You're angry, he said. I shook my head. Not at you. At how fragile we are. Like one confession and everything we had might vanish. It won't. You don't know that. No, he said, voice cracking. But I know I don't want to go back to a world where you weren't in it. I turned to him. You still want this? He finally looked at me, really looked. I didn't fall in love with you by accident, Lena. My breath caught. That's what this is, I said. It's always been that. My throat tightened. He reached across and brushed a tear I hadn't realized was there. Loving you doesn't mean I'm not scared, he said. It just means I'm scared for the right reasons now. We were at his place. No pretending, no hiding. The walls were bare, the bed too big. His life had been minimal for so long, as if he'd learned to live without filling anything up. Until me. He poured wine but didn't drink it. We stood on opposite sides of the kitchen, and for a while all we did was breathe. I want to stop hurting you, he said suddenly. You're not hurting me. I see it, every time you wonder if I'll leave. Because I know what losing you would feel like, I said. It would feel like all of this, everything we built, never existed. He came to me then, held my face in his hands. I don't want to be your secret anymore, I whispered. You're not now, not ever again. And then he kissed me. Not out of desire, out of decision. The world didn't collapse, but it didn't stay quiet either. Online forums whispered, patients withdrew. The clinic posted a neutral, sterile statement. He handed in his resignation 2 days later. Voluntary. Clean. Final. When he walked out of that building for the last time, I was waiting outside. He didn't look back. He looked forward at me. and smiled. We moved slowly after that. No drama, no declarations. Just mornings with tea and silent glances across a couch, and fingers brushing as we passed in narrow hallways. I never told him I needed him to say it again. He told me in how he showed up, how he stayed, how he listened. Before I continue, I just want to say thank you. These stories are real, they're mine, and I share one every day. If you want to hear more, subscribe. One night, months later, we sat on the rooftop of my apartment. It was cold, but neither of us wanted to be inside. I leaned against him, his coat wrapped around both of us. I used to come up here when I didn't know who I was, I said. And now? I looked at him. Now I know. I'm someone who survived, and found something worth surviving for. He pulled me closer. I rested my head against his chest. And in the dark, above the city, where no one was watching, no judgments, no board reviews, no rules, he said the one thing I'd been waiting for. I love you, Lena, and I'm not afraid anymore.